On our latest episode, we're talking some scary Jigsaw action. Will Stranger Things be just as good? Is Fandango a movie monopoly? Week 8 in the NFL? And what the heck is Michael Bay doing with Dora the Explorer? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another edition of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. And let's hope, I'll tell you what, let's hope we do everything we can as far as for your enjoyment out there. We truly appreciate you listening, but let's hope we set you off on the right foot as far as having yourself a great weekend. And I'll tell you what, for our great weekend here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, there's no better way to break it down with me as far as all the great pop culture news and info than with my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanica Media. He is the Master Chief of Humanica Media, is Josh Peterson. What's going on, my friend?
So would that make Pop Culture Cosmos like the UNSC?
Like the Halo universe or whatnot. I could be Sergeant Johnson. Avery Johnson is my favorite Halo character, so that's cool any day of the week.
And he just keeps coming back over and over again. So
yeah, exactly. Even though we did see him get speared by the Arbiter, if I remember correctly.
Well, he also blew up in the first one, so you never know, man. It's like Captain America. They'll just keep bringing him back to life.
Indeed. Well, we've got a great show for you today. Got a lot of stuff on the plate. We're going to be talking some Stranger Things also as well. We are going to be talking some Week 8 in the NFL with Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast. And of course, my good friend, the director of Nintendo Quest and the latest, and his newest documentary, Kitty, Origins and Evolutions. My good friend Rob McCallum, he's going to be joining me. He's going to be joining me later in the program, talking a little bit about Fandango, and well, it looks like they're trying to create a monopoly. They can't say that, but it kind of looks like they are in more ways than one. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But first, it's another great weekend at the box office. It's getting it's scary time indeed because it's nearing Halloween, and what a better way to celebrate the Halloween at the movies than with an old friend returning as far as horror movies are concerned. Jigsaw is coming back to theaters in the movie called Jigsaw. So Josh, share your thoughts with me on the Saw franchise. It was on the Saw franchise, and I'll tell you what, it's just a great time indeed if you're a horror fan. So tell me a little bit more about your thoughts on Jigsaw coming out this weekend after a few years of being dormant as a franchise.
It's one of those things where me personally, I don't feel like we needed another one. They kind of played it out, and Saw, granted, the first two had they were gross at some points, but they had very intriguing and I guess as emotional as an emotionally disturbed movie like that can be. And it was good. And then 3 just kind of got old, and they just started beating it to death. And I just, what else do they have to offer here except for it's going to be a copycat or a relative or maybe like a program that he left behind. I'm not interested in watching this movie. I'm going to read the reviews, but I personally have no desire to see it. Do you think that we need this?
Well, I'm going to say this right off the bat. I am not a huge fan of the Saw franchise because if you're trying to deal with the backstory and the whole interlooping of somebody that got injured or hurt or maimed or tortured in one of the previous films suddenly comes and works with the main antagonist and just and it's these surprises and out of nowhere, it's just the cohesion, it's almost as bad as Assassin's Creed when it comes to cohesion is concerned. And it's just all over the place as far as the story, and it makes up stuff along the way as far as either new victims or new supporters or copycats and all that great stuff. But everybody cares about only one thing and one thing only when they're watching the Saw movies, and that's the torture scenes. And I guess, you know, for those who are really into it, it's great. I'm not a big fan of it. I've never really found them really that enjoyable, not because it's any squeamish for me or anything like that. It's just, okay, I saw the first one. I thought it was kind of cool. And then 7 Saws later, you want me to still stay interested in it, even though it's trying to get kind of like a reboot after a little while that it's been out of action, so to speak. So I'll tell you what, I'm not a huge fan of it coming back. And I don't think the movie industry is really behind it 100% either, which is kind of surprising. And the reason why I say that, and Josh, I asked you to take a look as far as the number of theaters, because it's kind of surprising that it's only available in just under 3,000 theaters, which, as both you and I know, is kind of soft for an opening, especially for a horror film right near Halloween.
Well, this isn't exactly a safe time for movies, especially sort of burnt out franchises. I know Blade Runner is kind of a different story, but you know, you're bringing back properties that have been dormant for a long time. I understand why they're doing this, so it'll be interesting to see how many people venture out to see this movie. But you know, I think they're trying to minimize risk as much as possible.
I hear you on that, but the Jigsaw, it's just like most of these horror movies usually don't cost a whole heck of a lot to make. And so I'll tell you what, it's kind of, I don't know, it just looks like to me that the movie industry, the theater chains and whatnot, they really don't have 100% faith that people are still interested in the Jigsaw franchise, which even after some buildup is, well, kind of disappointing for those looking to see if they can actually watch a cool horror movie this Halloween. I think a lot of people will actually surprisingly go and try and seek out it as far as a horror movie to watch on Halloween if they're really, really got to be in the mood. Plus, Halloween itself hits during the week, so it's really not hitting on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So that being the case, that's probably holding it against it as well. So kind of surprised that Jigsaw is not appearing in a lot of as many theaters as I thought it would be, but that's fine. You know, that's the way they want to make it. That's the way they want to shape it out. People should still get a chance if they really want to see Jigsaw to watch that torture action that the Saw franchise has now become oh so famous for. So definitely want to hear your thoughts on the Jigsaw franchise. Are you excited to see Jigsaw once again appear back on the big screen? Shares her thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. I want to also mention that on our Monday show, the Pop Culture Cosmos show, which you can check out every Monday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on the Podcast Radio Network, we're going to be talking a little bit about, well, the death of Kinect. We're also going to be talking some great video games, including, well, I said this was going to be the greatest video game week of the year, and it certainly has been, as Assassin's Creed Origins, also as well, Super Mario Odyssey and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus have all hit the shelves, all with great reviews. In fact, it seemed like a lot of cases, I knew you've been checking it out as well, Josh. It seems like a very good, great, and almost, dare I say, perfect scores from a lot of critics all around. So we'll definitely be talking about that indeed. Go ahead.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, I expected Mario to do well, and it did. And surprisingly enough, people are rating Assassin's Creed and Wolfenstein very well. So I guess it depends on how much money you want to spend, what you want to wait till Christmas to play, and how much time you get on your hands, because it's going to be a busy season starting now.
Indeed, and we'll see how it shapes up over the weekend. for some final tallies, but we'll definitely share our final thoughts on those games as far as where they stand and definitely how they'll run and how they'll compare as far as the end of the year, all the awards and whatnot. We'll share our thoughts on the Monday show on that. Plus, like I mentioned, the Connect dying a horrible death. And then what else did I say? What else were we going to mention? Anything else we were going to mention? No, we mentioned something.
Michael Bay.
No, Michael Bay's later.
Stranger Things.
Not Stranger Things. That's later in the show. But what was I going to say was saved for next time?
I don't know. You wrote it all down right here. Jigsaw,
No.
Stranger Things.
Well, that's for this
Fandango.
week. I know we were going to mention something from Monday's show. What else?
Thoughts on Super Mario?
I know we didn't mention. Okay, well, it'll probably hit us like later. And I'm like, oh yeah. So, all right. Well, this won't be in the show anyway. So, but we're definitely going to be having a great show indeed. So check it out this Monday on the Podcast Radio Network, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, and also as well on a numerous array of podcasting stations, including Apple Podcasts. You know what? I'm just going to mention later on. It's going to be on a great sea of different podcasting networks. That's going to be available. We're going to mention that later in the show when I do a whole rundown. So it's going to be a great episode. It's going to be a great episode indeed. We've got Rob McCallum standing by also as well. We have our good friend Tyler Baker, and then also Josh and I are going to come back with our thoughts on Stranger Things and something that really just shocked us both when we got the news that it came across the wire, that not only has us scratching our head, but really just has us almost rolling our eyes simultaneously. And we're going to talk about that as we close the show. It's going to be another great episode indeed, but it all starts off with a good friend of ours, Plasma Z. He's always our man in the know when it comes to music on Fridays. This is Shadows of Chernobyl, and this is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. And I'll tell you what, Josh, Stranger Things on Netflix, it's coming back for another season. You wanted to really, get this going as far as the hype is concerned, because this show has been eagerly anticipated by a lot of individuals. They're just tuned into their Netflix and ready to binge watch all they can on it. So I want to hear your thoughts on Stranger Things Season 2. What are you expecting? And do you think it's really going to play out as well as it did for Season 1?
I've been trying not to read the reviews so far, but I've been seeing mixed headlines about it. I think so. I'm really hoping, because, in all honesty, the Stranger Things, it's a great show, but it's sort of just an elaborate, less depressing retelling of The Mist by Stephen King. I'm hoping that there's more than that one monster they show in the trailer. So because I literally know nothing about what's going on in this season. I just know Will's back, and he's, there's another creature trying to crawl through, but what made the first season so interesting was that they had the Gorg. What did they call the monster? The Demigorgon. It was more of a physical being, but from what we saw in the trailers for Season 2, looks like the monster's just a weird octopus thing that floats in the sky. So I'm hoping there's some kind of physical threat here, as opposed to a starfish floating above everybody. But yeah, I'm excited. I know it drops. I think it drops at midnight tonight, so I'll probably watch a couple episodes before I go to sleep. But how do you feel about it? Because I know we talk about it a lot, and I never asked you what you thought of the first season.
I was impressed by the first season. You know me, I love those 80 references, especially after you Ready Player One and all that. Anything that references heavily into the 80s. Whole dichotomy of things, and from the arcades to Dungeons and Dragons, that whole era where I am from, as far as when I grew up in my teen years. I mean, that's what I became accustomed to, going to the arcades and all that. I like the way it evolved. Obviously, it created a lot of suspense and whatnot. It's definitely one of Netflix's better representations on the network. I actually kind of like it even more than any of the Marvel representations. And I was just talking to Kevin from the Flopcast about the way that Marvel and DC on the big screen is so much better to me than the way it gets represented anywhere else on the small screen. So definitely for me, that Stranger Things is something that I think has a big screen type of quality and a big screen type of feel, yet it somehow has been managed to artfully and carefully and basically very well constructed, been able to find itself a great home on Netflix, because like I said, this would go easily on the big screen and make a ton of cash as well.
Yeah, it's a kind of story that, yes, they could make a movie out of it, but I mean, it's literally, the first season's like what, 12 hours. There's 12 episodes in the first
I believe
season.
12, yeah.
So, yeah, so it's about 12 hours. It's a type of story that you couldn't watch in, a couple hours. You would need, because it's kind of like Super 8. There's so many more aspects. It was an excellent movie, but there's so many more aspects to that movie I wish I would have known.
But I think the presentation-wise, it would be able to be on screen. It wouldn't feel like it's like a drummed-up version from the small screen.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. Like if they were to show it in theaters, like offer before it came out on Netflix, offer like a limited theater run where you just sit there and binge it. People would pay money for that. People would dress up in costumes to go watch that.
Definitely, I think they would as well. And as far as how well will it be viewed, I think it's just people are just waiting on it right now, like you. That's if it's going to drop at midnight, and the eager anticipation of what is going to go on in this season. And I do want to hear your thoughts as we go along, what your thoughts are on Stranger Things. So definitely want you to check back in with us with your thoughts on how Stranger Things Season 2 is developing, because I think it's really going to come down to what we think Stranger Things will be going through as compared to the first season, because the first season came off so well. It was so well executed, so well done. I'm hoping that Stranger 2 will continue that vibe down the road as well for this season. What are your thoughts on Stranger Things? Are you as eager to see it as Josh is? Are you excited about what's coming up as far as what's coming up in store for the kids of Stranger Things? Are you really excited to go ahead and binge watch it on Netflix and see what's going on this season with the group? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos and Humanity Media on Facebook and Twitter as well. Do you think that there's going to be more monsters and it's just really scary stuff going on in Stranger Things? Is that why you really like it? I'll tell you what, it's a great time of the year to actually debut it with Halloween and all that. And we just talked earlier about Jigsaw being a key component to as far as the box office this weekend, is because it's a horror movie, in the Halloween weekend. Well, this definitely may be something as well that people want to check out this Halloween for that little bit of a scare thing going on, and all the suspense that only Stranger Things has been able to give fans over the course of the past year, as far as what a great show indeed it is.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, no, if you haven't checked it out, I would definitely recommend it. Like I recently rewatched it, and it's a really, like, there are things in it that I didn't notice the first time. So it was just as good to me watching it through a second time as it was the first. So it's if you haven't seen it at all and you're one of those people who are like, no, it's too, like my brother I was talking to him about this, and he's like, oh, it's too boring for the first episode. That is the most exciting first episode I've ever seen in a show before. And, you know, if you're one of those people who you like to be edgy and cool and go against what everyone else says, like, you are seriously missing out on something amazing.
I think they are indeed, and this definitely is a show to watch. And so glad that it's going to be able to be binged in its, pretty much ongoing fashion starting this weekend on Netflix. I know a lot of people are excited, and especially Josh. So definitely looking forward to hearing updates from Josh on how season 2 is progressing with Stranger Things. And we're back with the show. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate it as we close out the show today. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast. Let everyone know that if you cannot, for some reason, catch the PCC Multiverse at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on the podcast radio network, hey, it's no problem at all. You can always download our show and stream it any point in time on our Pop Culture Cosmos channels on any one of these fine networks: Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, the Ace Podcast Network, Overcast, Player.fm, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Podcast.com, Mixcloud, the ESO Network, the Tangibound Network, the Gunna Geek Network, Cast Crunch, and popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, where you will find a lot of great articles, including some great stuff from myself and also Mr. Josh Peterson as well. But Josh has also got some great stuff going on with all the tremendous podcasts as part of his great experience known as Humanica Media. So Josh, what is going on with your tremendous experience known as Humanica Media?
It's not so tremendous this week. We actually just dropped a new episode of Super BS because we're talking about Mario and Assassin's Creed. So I figured instead of waiting until 4 or 5 days after the game comes out, just listen to it now. You know, we're discussing reviews and all that stuff. So check it out. Listen to Attack of the Humanicans on Tuesday night. And, that's sadly all we got right now. Inside Sports also will be up tomorrow night. Just, pay attention. Check it out. Follow our Facebook. Really, that's the best way because I tend to forget things. So just follow us on Facebook and you'll see everything new that pops up.
Indeed, and I'm hoping that those NBA and NHL just previews will someday be up in the air for. So I know you want to talk some NHL, so and I know I want to talk some NBA. I got Anthony Barber and we've got some great footage with us talking some NBA. So for the rest of the season, you can count on that as well. So a lot of great things for Inside Sports, and that's all a part of the Humanica Media experience. And don't forget Attack of the Humanicans, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday at the Podcast Radio Network. Well, Josh, I know you probably just fell over on your seat when I sent you word that Michael Bay wants to get his Transformer-like hands, into the world of Dora the Explorer. That's right. Michael Bay, the man, the myth, the legend among Transformer movies and director of all these great and fantastically over-the-top Transformer movies, for lack of a better term, that actually, you know what? All props to him. They do a lot of money, and that's the bottom line. Recently said that he wants to get involved in the creation of a big screen adaptation for Dora the Explorer. Dora. So I ask you, I can't believe we're talking about this subject, but I ask you, because we'll talk about pretty much anything on the show, what are your thoughts on Michael Bay going from the Transformers series, which he said the last night was going to be his last go-around, to Dora the Explorer? Otherwise, I think there's just some stunned silence by there.
he's setting out to wreck, you know, everyone's childhood one generation at a time. Because I watched Transformers last night, and that is a terrible movie. It is absolutely awful. It was so bad that I was watching the interview where Anthony Hopkins said he had no idea what was going on the whole movie. He was just, you know, it was a paycheck for him. So it literally made no sense. It's like they took the King Arthur tale and they turned it into robot fights. So that was weird. But I think, do you remember when Ari Shankar made that that Dora the Explorer short on the internet, and it's like a hyper violent version of Dora the Explorer? It's like 3 minutes. He's the guy that made that Power Ranger short that Saban tried to sue him over.
I believe so. I believe that that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah. He wrote and produced the Castlevania series on Netflix. But yeah, so I imagine it's going to look something like that, but with a whole lot of explosions. So it makes you wonder. So he took
the door. I can see her just like going to, which way should I go? I have to go through this part and through these explosions and all.
Yeah.
This, building falls and yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be. We need to trust our look in the backpack, but the backpack is full of explosives, and they're gonna freaking throw it at Swiper, and he's just gonna explode.
Exactly. Or the one with the, you know, the friend that
Diego.
The monkey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be like, you know, pulling out some, you know, AK-47s and just like laying waste to the entire countryside there or something like that. So
it's going to be a they're going to find some kind of you know, legend to retell into Dora the Explorer. She's going to be searching for some kind of relic, and then it's going to end up being part of the Prism from Transformers, and then it's just going to turn into a merged universe, and then G.I. Joe will show up, and just we're going to have all kinds of crazy stuff happening.
And then the bad boys will come up as far as being one of the the elements as far as to save the day as well. Right in the middle of the gunfire, there's Dora the Explorer just trying to go ahead and make sure that you learn Spanish at the same time. So
it can only go well.
Yeah, indeed. This is gonna be just awesome in so many ways, and I'm not sure if exactly it's gonna be an awesome as far as in a good way, or if it's gonna be an awesome in like what did I just watch way. But we'll have to wait and see. But I'll tell you what, Michael Bay getting a hold of Dora the Explorer franchise is truly a frightening thought to some, and to us here. I just think it'd be great as far as to see what actually will happen. And you know, it's I don't know. It's just one of those things in life you just would never expect to see. But when it rolls right there on your news feed, you have to look at it twice. It just stops you dead in your tracks. You're scrolling, and you're like, really? Oh, wow. Because I think that's what I said. I was just in shock, and I think a lot of people are too. But you know what? If you can do Bad Boys, if you can do the Transformer series, if you can do Pain and Gain, he can go and try and see what he can do to create life out of the Dora the Explorer franchise. What are your thoughts? And believe me, we do really want to...
God help us.
What'd you say?
I said, God help us all.
Indeed. Please let us know, and we really, really, really want to hear your thoughts on Michael Bay taking hold of the Dora the Explorer franchise. We truly want to hear your thoughts on this. Share us your thoughts.
And also the door. He's taking hold of the door to the exit door to his career.
He's got enough cash. It's all good. It's all good. He's made enough money just in China receipts alone, as far as from the Transformer franchise. So I think he's quite good as far as long as you know, he's still able to go ahead and keep on doing what he wants to do, because it's all about the Transformers, baby. But share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. We want to hear, are you excited about Michael Bay and the Dora the Explorer franchise, or do you think that it's just way too much to handle? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanican Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. So Josh, we got a great weekend coming up. Halloween is just right around the corner, and our Halloween episode is coming up indeed on Monday. But what are you going to be looking for, checking out this weekend? I know Stranger Things is on tap for you, correct?
Right. Yeah. Dude, it's weird. Like I went from having nothing to having a lot. So I'm going to be finishing my review of Maze, and I'm going to be playing Mario, and I'm going to be watching Stranger Things. I'll probably move on to Assassin's Creed. So I'll be busy for a bit. Yeah.
Indeed, he will be, but he's going to be actually showing some Maze on his Humanica Media website on YouTube. So check that out, Humanica Media on YouTube for the Xbox One game Maze, and definitely looking forward to seeing a review on that as well. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. Oh, I forgot. I'll put this in a second. What was I going to say? Oh, and I want to make sure we thank Tyler, and we want to make sure we thank Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pater podcast for stopping by. Also, as well, my good friend Rob McCallum, who's, we wish him the very best this weekend with the world premiere of Kitty's Origins and Evolutions. For more info, just check it out on robmccallumfilms.com. And then also as well, want to thank the two podcasts that did swap promos with us this weekend. And that was for Death's Door and No But Seriously. Those podcasts, check them out on Apple Podcasts and numerous other streaming and podcasting outlets. And we truly appreciate you allowing us to play our promos on your great podcasts as well. So check that out indeed. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. And it's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.